And yes, my friends, we're back once again, as you knew we were going to be. Hello, guys, welcome, or if you've already seen my channel before, welcome back. I am the Philadelphia Whovian, and yes, guys, if you are new to this channel, here comes the warning, the moment where I tell you the sad reality of my life. I am one of those degenerate YouTubers who sits in front of the camera and talks. There's no fancy editing, no beautiful title sequence, just a poor, sad soul howling out in the wilderness. That's my thing. Alright guys, and also, disclaimer before I begin, sorry if this video is long in coming out. It's simply I've been having some, yes, even though I'm technologically degenerate, there's been some technical issues, so sorry if this is delayed in coming out. And as you've seen in the title, yes guys, we're talking of that wonderful thing called Star Trek, where we are literally ranking all of these Star Trek episodes from the original show back from the 1960s. Now guys, if this is your first time watching this set of videos, yes, we're at part 4 of the videos. So if you've not seen parts 1, 2, 3, you might want to go back and rewatch them, but if you don't care, welcome to part 4 where we're ranking 50 to 41. Okay, starting at number 50. Guys, from the second season, we have the story, The Omega Glory. Okay, Omega Glory is a story where Captain Kirk, along with Bones and Spock, go down to a planet where it turns out there was a crew of other Federation officers from a destroyed or crashed ship that landed there, and there's a captain who ignored the Prime Directive. The reason why he did so was because he discovered immortality on that planet. Everybody is granted longer life, but so not only has he agreed to help these people and ignored the Prime Directive of letting a planet do its thing and go its own way without, influencing that planet, but he does it out of greed. But actually, no. It's more complicated than that, and also does a reverse situation of where you have the savages versus the sophisticated ones, but they're not what you think they would have been. It actually was reverse of the history it's clearly getting inspired by, and to the point where it's even a surprise when it comes to a certain document that's announced to influence this civilization. Okay, the Omega Glory, it actually looks quite good. It's a story that looks quite good and had the best budget was put into it that this show could have. It's overall a perfectly fine story, not my favorite, but it's perfectly fine, hence why it's at number 50. Here's a weird thing. When I first saw it, I did not like it. Then I saw it again, liked it. Then I saw it again, didn't like it. Then I saw it again, liked it. It's one of the stories I'm always on the fence about. So this is where I put it. Now coming at number 49, from the Season 1, Dagger of the Mind. Simply put, this is a story where a psychologist or psychiatrist escapes from a planet that has a psychiatry or psychology, clinic there to treat people who are mentally damaged. And the person who runs this clinic, he is like a pioneer for enhancing the mind or pretty much not enhancing the mind, but almost curing mental diseases and really tending to those who are mentally sick. Turns out, though, no. They have a machine there that literally pacifies you to the point of making you almost docile or compliant or makes you believe whatever the machine is ordering you to believe. To the point where I wonder, guys who have seen Dagger of the Mind, but you also watch Doctor Who, The Mind of Evil, do you think, because if you watched it, do you think this is where Mind of Evil gets its inspiration from? I think it just might, but I could be wrong. But I think it just might because it came out way before Mind of Evil. Dagger of the Mind has the concept of object being there to dull all of the negative aspects of your character or manipulate your brain in one way, shape, or form or another. There's that. So, okay, now we have a number 48, controversial opinion from the 3rd season, Day of the Dove. Yes, there is an entity on a planet, eventually gets onto the Enterprise. This entity is like a cloud of smoke and lights that feeds off of negative energy. Again, something else that feeds off of negative energy. But this one likes to keep the negativity going. So it specifically sparks conflict between two different nations to see them war with each other because it gets a high off of watching conflict. So this entity tricks the crew of the Enterprise and a crew of Klingons to think they destroyed each other or destroyed societies of each other when that's not the case. Then the Klingons go into the Enterprise thinking they're taking it over, but they do not. It turns out, so now there's a battle happening on the Enterprise between the Klingons and Captain Kirk and the crew of the Enterprise, and this entity is on there tricking their minds and thinking to make them think that both of them are hurting the other, when in reality it's influencing them too. And Kirk finds this out and eventually conquers the entity. Okay, guys, I love this story. I know it doesn't have the best budget, but I think it's a fun story. I enjoy it. I think it's cute, creative. I like the idea of it. Sorry, it's just me. Number 47 now. Another controversial one where you're going to kick me in the face, or you want to kick me in the face saying, how is it so high? How? Well, it is. That's just how I am. From the third season again. Here it comes. Wink of an Eye. Those who have seen this story are like, really, it's this far up? You know what? I like this story, okay? Yes, it's not given a good budget, but what a great idea. Okay. The Enterprise receives a distress signal from a planet of people who say that they're almost wiped out, but no, it turns out this is a race of people who live in a different, almost like a different plane than we do, where they're moving at a billion times faster pace, to the point where it sounds like you're hearing a bug buzzing in your ear. It's really them talking, and it's just that they're moving and speaking so quickly. To us, they sound just like that. We can't even see them. Even if they're moving in the same place we are, you can't see them, and it's like you're going at a snail's pace compared to them. So they're taking people from the Enterprise to marry them because to help their species keep going. That's what it is. And Kirk eventually gets chosen as well and put into this place where a woman has chosen him of that species to help procreate. The problem is, all you do is get cut. Like, if you get cut when they assimilate you to their world, you literally die. That's how fragile you are in that world. And the idea is Spock finding out and Captain Kirk getting Spock to realize what's happening, which he does. Spock finds out, and Spock also finds a way to become quick as lightning as well, so they could all solve the problem together. I'm sorry, I like that idea. I think it's a great idea. Yes, it's season 3, whatever. I still think it is a unique and creative concept, so there, I'm sticking with it. Number 46, from the second season of Star Trek, the original series, Who Mourns of Adonis? If I pronounced that correctly. The plot of this one goes, the Enterprise gets literally captured in space by a large green hand that holds it there, and it turns out it's Apollo. He is there to take them off of their, ship, to go onto this beautiful planet that feels like, Greek civilization, to be there, worship him, where he oversees them, and they farm. Yeah, they look after sheep and tend to the land, and they worship him. And all the other gods have left, but he stayed behind because he still wanted to be amongst mortals. And it leads to them having to escape his domain because they outgrew him. And you feel a little bit bad for Apollo, because you see where he's coming from. He feels like he's a god, and he wants them to worship him the way the Greeks did, but they did outgrow him, and they're not meant to just be farmers and work on the land. So this is where they had to do what they did, but you do feel slightly bad for Apollo, even though it's his fault that all this is happening. It's a complicated situation, but I have a fun time enjoying it. Apollo, he was outgrown, and that's just the way it had to be. Alright, so now number 45, another episode from the second season, Wolf in the Fold. Okay. If you've seen this story, you know what I'm talking about, guys. Wolf in the Fold. Alright. It's a story where I guess you can easily be offended by it if you are easily sensitive to any sort of idea of someone not liking women, whatever it is. But here's how it is. Just don't take offense to it. It's not meant for that. Wolf in the Fold simply is, it starts out with Kirk taking Scotty along with Bones. So Kirk and Bones take Scotty to a pleasure planet where there is female dancers who are beautiful. And why are they doing this? Well, because Scotty was on a previous expedition where he was pretty much hurt and attacked by females, and they're worried that he might have a negative, remembrance or opinion of women. So by going here, he can release all that. So he goes off walking with his belly dancer in the fog, and know what happens? She is dead. She was stabbed many, many times, and he's got the knife in his hand, and he cannot remember any of it. This keeps on happening because there's a trial process to interrogate him of if he really was the murderer. And every single female who's in the vicinity of him, the lights go out, he loses memory, and they get stabbed multiple times. It turns out it wasn't, of course, Scotty. It was another entity who was a very famous villain in Earth's history. A very famous serial killer. I'll say no more. It's cool. So, I mean, not in the sense that it's like it's terrible what happened to the women. That's horrible. But that's the point is, whoa, I did not see that coming. This is the villain you guys chose. Whoa, oh my god, that's bold. So it's cool in the sense that it's like, whoa, that's interesting. Now we have a number 44. Another shocking one that's like, oh, how dare it be so high. You know what, I stand by it. From the 3rd season, Spectre of the Gun. Okay, Kirk and the Enterprise are ordered or kind of, influenced to go out to this part of space to make peace treaties or, send envoys of peace to this part of the universe, but they are ordered to go no further by the alien entity that rules there, and angered about the fact that the Enterprise destroyed the buoy and kept on persevering, the alien entity sent Kirk, Spock, Bones, Chekhov, I believe Scotty, down to a planet where they created a whole image of Tombstone, where you had the Earps, like, Wyatt Earp, Morgan Earp, Virgil Earp, versus the Clantons. And, of course, Doc Holliday is in it, too. This is where Doctor Who and Star Trek kind of aligned again, the idea of using that history, of that part of American history. They did it with Spectre of the Gun, with Star Trek. Doctor Who, it was the gunfighters. But, of course, you can't copyright a historic moment. You can't. You both have the right to use it. But this one is the idea of the Clantons, with the Enterprise crew being used as the Clantons, and the Earps take out the Clantons. So it's the idea of it's only a matter of time before the Enterprise crew gets killed by the Earps. But Spock comes up with a clever idea of, well, if we don't believe that we're going to be killed, it won't happen. And lo and behold, they came through unscathed, and the alien species actually learned to respect them and deal with them peacefully. And the way this is done is the construction of the town, it's not real. It's like the exteriors of the buildings was constructed to show almost like you're watching a play. People often say this is a terrible episode. I don't care. I love watching it. I love the lighting of it. It's just so grim. It's like so just theatrical, and I like that. There we go. Number 43 now from the 1st season, Miri. Miri is, I believe, kind of quite iconic of an episode amongst the Star Trek, universe of fandoms, the Trekkers, if you will, or the Trekkies, whatever term you want to call us. Miri is an episode where Kirk and his crew go down to a planet where literally you get stricken by a deadly disease once you hit puberty. So this is a planet run by children who are running wild. It's like Lord of the Flies. And Miri is the female there that they encounter who stays by them and also works alongside them. Sometimes she works against them when she learns jealousy because she develops feelings for Captain Kirk and anger towards Yeoman Janice, who clearly has a relationship in some way, shape, or form with Captain Kirk. Either way, it's the idea, the performances of the children being these creepy children who you can't see, but also then having to come up with a disease to keep people from dying once they hit puberty. Cool idea. It really is cool. It's a story that I like very much. It being in the 40s does not mean anything. It's still a good story. A lot of these stories in this part of the list are really good. Now, number 42 from the 3rd season again, the Enterprise Incident. Okay, this is sabotage. I mean, this is like espionage. Not just like it. It is espionage. The Enterprise crew, Spock and Kirk go on this mission actually to trick the Romulans into giving them the information behind a new weapon that they have devised. And Spock pretends to betray Captain Kirk, and together they find out how to get the plans behind this weapon that the Romulans have, to the point where Spock is deceptive. He deceives the captain of the Romulan ship, who is a lovely woman, and you feel quite bad for her. I do. It even kind of hurt how Spock had to be debased in this way, but that just made it more interesting. Either way, a very unique story as well, very enjoyable. Now you have us, number 41. I love this story. From the first season, Shore Leave. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, if you've seen Shore Leave, you know why it's good. So the Enterprise want to go on a holiday, or a vacation, if you will, because the crew is overworked. So they go down to this planet that looks absolutely beautiful. But if you think something, it comes to life. They don't know this, of course, yet. So these things, when their imagination gets triggered and they think of these things, they have no idea it's happening. And the problem is, when they think of things that are horrible, the horrible thing does occur. For example, someone thinks of a tiger, so a tiger runs up and then starts to attack people, possibly. Or there's one where there's a samurai, and Sulu has to escape a samurai because he thought of a samurai. There's another one where you see a white rabbit being chased by Alice from Alice in Wonderland, you know, cute one. There's another idea where Don Juan comes out of nowhere and just rips up the yeoman's dress. And the yeoman in this episode, she is the most underrated yeoman ever. This girl is gorgeous. And there's even this one segment where Captain Kirk, he thinks of an old bully from his academy days who would bully him to no end. His name is Finnegan. And the whole concept of that is he has to eventually face Finnegan again after always letting himself be bullied by Finnegan. And they have a little physical fight where where eventually Kirk overpowers him and he does feel better. And Spock even says to him, "Feel better, Captain?" And Kirk's like, "Oh yeah, definitely." But it turns out, no, the whole time it was actually a pleasure planet, in the sense of, it's like an amusement park, where whatever you imagine, it comes to life, but no actual danger does happen to you. It's all fine in the end. Again, just a pleasure amusement park planet. It's a fun little romp in the field of awesomeness. It's creative, enjoyable, and you like it, you do. You end up liking it a lot. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and what are your favorite, if you do like any of the episodes I just listed for this part of the list, let me know in the comments section. And guys, thank you. I'll see you again very soon. You're awesome. Bye, guys. No, really. You're awesome. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Bye, guys.